Dental care, grocery rebates, climate incentives, and healthcare funding are all part of this year's unique federal budget. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland tabled the much anticipated 2023 federal budget this afternoon. However, this year's budget looked a bit different than those of previous years. Amid high costs of living, inflation, and subsequent turmoil in the global banking system, the federal budget for 2023 put a greater focus on fiscal restraint. The finance minister has vowed to exercise fiscal restraint amid the ongoing fight against inflation. However, the government has also highlighted investments in targeted inflation relief, healthcare, and clean energy. Joining us now to discuss all of this is Dr. Lindsay Tedds, Associate Professor of Economics at the University of Calgary. Dr. Tedds, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you very much for having me.
So quite the budget announced today, $59.5 billion over the next 5 years. So what would you say are the major takeaways from this budget announcement?
Well, I think the major takeaways are that we are no longer on a fiscally prudent path that was laid out in the economic update. We're not looking at seeing a zero deficit for, well, the whole horizon of this budget. So there are definitely some concerns, especially as we're seeing a little bit more softening in the economy, especially in the United States and in the UK, that can have big dramatic effects on us. So we are not recession ready with this budget.
Now, unfortunately, that is disappointing news. We did hear the finance minister has highlighted that this budget is aiming to offer inflation relief while also demonstrating fiscal restraint. Is this balance prevalent in the budget announcement today?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of new spending going on in here on top of the spending that had already been announced for healthcare and what have you. So the thing is what we have to keep in mind is that is as the assumptions that that budget is based on change, and if we have deteriorating economic conditions, it's just going to make it harder and harder to actually be able to do more and more programming. One aspect that is not booked in this budget is the long talked about Canada Disability Benefit, which could cost as much as $12 billion a year. So we know that's going to get rolled out in 2023, 2024, and there's just no fiscal room here to do that prudently.
And in terms of rising costs of living, and including the rising cost of food, I really want to touch on this grocery rebate. A lot of our Canadian viewers are looking forward to that. What exactly would this look like for Canadians?
So it's really just another top up to the GST credit that we had last year. So if you get the GST HST credit, you will in fact be getting this rebate through that vehicle. You can use it for groceries, or you can use it for anything that is fueling affordability problems for you. But you have to be able to qualify for the GST credit. So it's targeted to low and moderate income Canadian families for sure.
Another interesting issue this budget was aiming to address is predatory lending. So can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly that is and whether this budget actually addresses it?
So with the predatory lending, the easiest way to explain it would be, your payday loans, the money markets and things like that. So they have put a cap on the fees that can be charged, interest and fees, so that if you do have to use these lenders, which people with not great credit are relying on them, we're at least making some movement on ensuring that interest is not above about $45 on 100. So they're keeping it down low at about trying to market at about $14 per $100 borrowed.
All right, just about a minute left here, but let's just really quickly unpack healthcare. What are some of the significant investments in that front, and especially when it comes to dental care?
So the dental care one is quite interesting. As we know, we've had this temporary benefit, and that is going to be taken over by a program that is going to be set up by Health Canada. It is somehow going to be linked, though, to the tax system because they actually did announce that there's now going to be an information sharing between Canada Revenue Agency and Health Canada. So not a lot of details yet, but it's probably going to look a lot like the eligibility conditions of the existing 2-year dental benefit that's already rolled out.
Lots to keep our eyes out for. Again, Dr. Tedds, thank you again for joining us today on Forum Daily.